The following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, my name is Josh, and this is a fish. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you how this fish will help you get laid. And it'll do it without teaching you cheesy pickup lines that don't work, without letting you spend a dime on dinners and drinks, and without anyone ever noticing you're using his techniques on them. But first, I gotta warn you. I've taught this technique you're about to learn to over 110,000 guys just like you who live in over 30 countries around the world, and it's going to make hot women stare at you and uncontrollably chase you. But to be fair to the other 100,000 plus guys who've shoved money in my pockets to teach them this technique already, I'm only going to be able to leave this video up for 24 hours. So this is literally the only chance you'll get to see this video all the way through. And if you actually think you have something better to do than learn this technique, then you're either gay, not that there's anything wrong with that if you are, or you're so old you piss dust. If you consider yourself an above average or even typical guy, stick around, this is totally for you. And if you watch until the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you the system that is literally step by step and is proven to create sexual intrigue that is so compelling and so powerful that almost any girl you use it on will find their panties around their knees, soaked to the max before she can even say, "My name is." Listen, I've pulled this off so many times, I've lost count. It even works if she thinks you're unattractive. In fact, if you follow my step-by-step method to the letter, it's literally out of her control. She has to respond. Wouldn't that be a secret you'd love to know? Well, this is a fact. All women go through the same exact process every time they decide to sleep with a guy. And trust me, you've never seen anything like this before, so make sure you watch this video to the very end. But first, I'm going to tell you a sex story. Yeah, I know most guys would tell you all about their different media appearances they've done, and all the books they've authored, blah, blah. And yeah, I could bore you with that crap. I have a credentialed resume that would make the biggest player you know run home to his mama. But listen, if you're smart, you don't give a damn about that. And I bet you don't. You probably just want the juice, the secret sauce, and I'm going to get to that in just a few seconds, right after my sex story. Deal? Cool. So how did this skinny little loser looking dude go from 0 to sleeping with up to 15 new hotties a month? Did I get rich? Did I memorize line after lame ass line? Did I put on pheromone cologne? Hell no. The truth is pretty brutal. I was an absolute leper with women until I discovered this system. If you looked up whipped in the dictionary, it'd say, see Josh Pellissier. In fact, if I hadn't hit complete rock bottom, I'd probably still be terrible to this day. You see, several years ago, I was living with my complete ice queen of an ex-girlfriend in North Carolina. She was hot, young, and she knew it. You know, a total Barbie who always gets what she wants. And I thought she was amazing in bed. Now that I've been with a few hundred more women, I wouldn't even rate her a 5. Listen, back then, the old Josh did anything she wanted. She wanted to move to North Carolina. I said, okay, let's go. She wanted to keep in touch with her ex-boyfriend. I told her, it's okay, I understand. She wanted me to pay for the apartment. I didn't want to look like a deadbeat, so I said, I'll work 2 jobs, no problem. I just wanted to make her happy. So one brutally hot day, I come home from a 14-hour shift at the coffee shop I worked at to find her freaking out. She told me that her dad was making a surprise visit, and she never told him that she was dating anyone, and definitely not that she was living with someone. And the worst part, he was showing up that night. So she told me to get all my stuff and leave the house for a couple of days so he wouldn't find out that I lived there with her. And, like the little boy that I was, I left. I got all my stuff, packed it into my little crappy black Honda Accord, and drove out not having any idea where I'd go. I didn't have any friends in town, and I was way too proud to ask some random person if I could stay with them, so I drove around until I found a vacant house that was for sale, and I parked behind it hoping no one would notice me sleeping in my car. It wouldn't have been too bad, really, but I had to do it for 3 days in a row, and on the 3rd day, something happened and I snapped. See, I had to sleep with my windows open because it was way too hot to close them. But the mosquitoes were so bad that I had to use a blanket to keep them off me, so I only slept about 2 hours each night, and I couldn't even lean the driver's seat back because all my stuff was packed in the back seat behind me. So I had to sleep sitting up in the driver's seat, covered in a blanket, in the sweltering heat, behind a vacant house, like a hobo. And then it happened. I was half asleep and I hear, "Freeze, put your hands where I can see them." I freak out, of course. So in a daze, I put my hands out the window and a swarm of police officers jog over to my car with their guns out and aim at my window. Apparently, the neighbor had seen a strange car parked behind the vacant lot and called the police. I guess I would have done the same thing. After they calmed down and realized I wasn't some national threat, they asked me what I was doing there. And that's when I did it. I told them that my girlfriend's dad was in town, and he didn't know we were dating, so I had to sleep in my car for a few days. That's when one cop turned off his flashlight, looked at the other cop in complete disbelief, and turned to me and said, "Seriously?" I was tired and I didn't have the energy to explain more, so I just said, "Yeah." I think he was still trying to be professional, so he told me that I needed to go somewhere else, and he told me to try sleeping in the Walmart parking lot. And as he was turning to walk back to his car, I heard him say, "Poor bastard." The rest of the night, I did some serious thinking. I sort of had to because I couldn't go to sleep. Have you ever been so tired that you can't fall asleep? Well, that was me. I just sort of woke up and realized that I was a complete and utter wuss. I was a sorry excuse for a man. If my dad knew how much of a wuss I'd become, he'd be disappointed. So that night, I wrote a note to myself on a piece of notebook paper that said, "I will get this attraction thing handled, or I will die trying." I still carry that note around with me to this day. So I grabbed the first thing I knew to look at out of my back seat, my psychology notebook from when I went to college in Florida. I opened randomly and I started reading, and I didn't know if I was delirious from no sleep for 3 days or if something just snapped and my IQ jumped 50 points, but I suddenly noticed a theory that my professor taught me that just went in one ear and out the other. Propinquity. It's a $10 word, which is probably why I never remembered it in the first place. So I read all my notes on this propinquity thing, and I thought, well, screw it. What the hell do I have to lose? I'll try it out tomorrow. So the next morning, after rinsing off with paper towels in the bathroom at a place called Panera Bread, seriously, I went into work and I started using it on the customers. The first time I used it, nothing. The second time, nothing again. But the third time, she smiled, asked me my name, and said she'd like to hang out after I got off work. I thought, holy crap, it actually worked. So that night I hung out with her for an hour or two. No, nothing happened with her because I still didn't know what the hell I was doing, plus I wasn't single yet. And afterwards I went back, broke up with my girlfriend. My car was already packed with my crap anyway, and I spent the whole night looking through my notes to find other techniques I could try out. I did that every day for a week, then 2 weeks, then a month, then 6 months. A year went by and I had read 5 psychology textbooks, 12 dating advice books, 2 etiquette books, and watched over 400 hours of training videos on building rapport, subliminal messaging, seduction, attraction, body language, personality typing. I was a machine. And eventually I began to see patterns, things that allowed me to plug myself into an attraction switchboard. From then on, arousing, attracting, and seducing beautiful women was a piece of delicious cake to me, almost second nature. So I created brand new techniques and tricks that the world had never seen before, and all to help me take advantage of those powerful patterns that I discovered. But what were some of those techniques that I used, and that thousands of guys eventually started using, to get women to uncontrollably flirt, make out, and sleep with me time and time again? The ones I found that worked just about 100% of the time on just about any kind of woman, regardless of her age, hair color, height, or how smoking hot she was. Well, I'd like to teach some of them to you now, if that's alright with you. You might want to get a pen and a piece of paper ready for this part, especially since this video gets taken down in 24 hours. Remember, these techniques will get you results instantly, but I'm just barely scratching the surface here. And pay close attention to the last technique I teach you, because that's when I'm going to reveal the #1 simple, bizarro chick trick that you've never heard of before that got me 90% of my success with women right away, and how thinking like this fish is going to make you better with women than anyone you've ever known. The first technique has to do with the chick's mouth. I know, chick's mouth, you want to put something in it. I get that. But before you run off and do that, let me tell you the secret. Did you know that if you look at a woman's mouth while she's talking to you, that you'll subconsciously make her think about sleeping with you? This is called a sexual trigger. Sexual triggers are secret techniques that bypass all of her barriers and turn her on without her knowledge. Using sexual triggers is like using Inception to make her want to sleep with you. They are the cornerstone of unrivaled success with women, and I'm going to reveal where you can get dozens of these near the end of this video. These triggers are so stealth that they actually bypass a woman's logical brain, and yes, she has one, and they speak directly to her emotional brain. And let me tell you, her emotional brain is this damn big. Every woman's is. Here's another sexual trigger. Did you know that over 90% of guys turn women off before they even open their mouths by facing them directly with their bodies? Yeah, I didn't know that either. Turning your chest toward a girl too early is a subconscious sign of neediness, and it completely destroys sexual attraction. Well, how about this little trick? Before you really start talking about something serious with a girl, try saying this. I get a sense that you're open to trying new things, and that makes me feel comfortable and at ease. Then continue your conversation with her. Doing this at the right time will subconsciously compel her to chase you. It uses a psychological trick called consistency, and it's a biological shortcut that skips over all of her red flags and plugs you directly into her love center. I don't think I need to warn you not to use that one irresponsibly. But look, I know this all sounds ridiculously simple. Well, it is ridiculously simple, but I've got a lot more to share with you if you really want to get the 9s and 10s. These triggers are going to get you in the front door, but they're not going to get you all the way home. So let me teach you exactly how to get all the way home. But first, I need to reveal a big, big lie to you. Because if you don't see these lies for yourself, you'll always be invisible to the super hot chicks. I'm going to start by telling you what women don't want. Because you've been lied to. A certain group of people want you to believe that women want this crap, but they don't want it. So let's start from the top. Money. You think women want money? Well, guess what? You've been lied to about money, and I'm pissed off about it. And guess what else? Women are not attracted to big muscles. Most women are actually repulsed by guys who look all steroided up. And it's not a full head of hair. In 2007, a survey revealed that 97% of women actually find bald men sexy. 97%. And it's not good looks either. I remember seeing an interview with Brad Pitt where he admitted that he could not get a date when he first moved to Hollywood. Brad Pitt. Now let me tell you what it's actually all about. It's all about something called pre-selection. That's making her think that other women already want you. And let me tell you how that works. Women have what's called a filter mechanism. That basically means that it's her job to filter out weak and undesired men. And you have what's called an approach mechanism. That's a thing that makes you kick yourself and feel like a wuss if you don't go and talk to a girl you're attracted to. And these two things do not mix. They're like oil and water. And if you walk up to a woman with your normal approach mechanism, like 99% of guys do, then she's going to filter you right out. Just like oil and water. This is a fact, and it's been hardwired into the females of our species. And just about every other species on the planet too, including the fish. Check this out. When most female fish look for a mate, they search for a male who's the brightest color. That's because if a male is a brighter color, it means he's healthier. And they look for those healthy genes to help their offspring survive. But when two males are close to the same brightness, something very strange happens. The females all mate with the one male that the other females are mating with. It's just how they are wired. And women are the exact same way. That's right, we're all thinking like fish. But if you're going to be a fish, I want you to be a piranha. So here's a question you might want to know the answer to. How? How do women know